Hey gang, Lou here from Jersey Shore Fabricators. So, you went out, you did it. You bought yourself a new car, new truck. You want to make it a little different, you want to make it a little better. So, what do? How do you do it? How much is it going to cost? Well, in this case, we have a 2016 Chevrolet Colorado. Nice truck. You know, really is. Backup camera, you know, all the amenities. So the owner wanted a little bit bigger tires. And he was going to go for some big dollar wheels. Ended up buying these wheels and tires off of Craigslist for like $500. They're brand new. But he wants a little more. So we're just going to do a lift kit. Now we're not going to get into doing a solid axle or 40-inch tires or an LS swap or anything like that. No. We're gonna take it easy on this one. We're gonna do a 2-inch puck lift, which actually goes in the struts. It's pretty simple, something you can do in your driveway. We'll show you how to get into this and how it's done. Alright gang, so the lift kit, 2016 Colorado. Not the hardest process in the world, so I'll show you what's going on here. First thing that needs to happen, you need to take loose the sway bar. So you have a bolt here, you have a nut here, bottom bolt is here, this is a 15, this is a 13. Take that off on each side, you're going to swing this out of the way. You're also going to take loose this bolt right back there that holds on the ABS line and the brake line. You're going to need a 6mm Allen for the bottom of this and a 17mm for this nut for the upper ball joint. You're going to need a 13 or 15 for the 3 mounting studs up top, and you're going to need a 20 and I believe a 20 for the lower strut mount. Alright, so get those tools together. I'll meet you back here. Okay, so you took out your sway bar end link, and you took out the bolt on the side for the ABS, and the brake line. Okay, so now what you're going to do, you're going to have an 18mm wrench up here, 6mm wrench goes in here. You're going to turn them in opposite directions. So the 18mm goes off and the 6mm goes on. Now before you do this, put a jack under the control arm, under the rotor. I don't care, because when you do this, you're going to be taking pressure off that spring and everything is going to try to come out and kill you. Alright? So safety first. Okay, so I have a jack under the lower ball joint now. Came up about 3 pumps just to take pressure off. Now you can start working this guy here loose. And if that center stud starts moving, that's when you're going to put the 6mm back in there. Now as I'm doing this, you can see the upper ball joint is starting to release. That's why the jack is underneath there. Alright. You don't want to take this off all the way just yet. Just get it down to the bottom of its travel. Because there's another step to do. Okay, actually there isn't another step to do. Just a little pressure under the... Let me back up. I did that for anybody who's scared, to keep you scared. This is dangerous stuff, or at least it can be. Now, you can just put a little pressure underneath the lower ball joint, take this nut loose, and this will all come apart all by itself. Alright? Now that you've done that, now comes the fun part of extracting that bolt and the 3 nuts up top here that actually hold the strut in, and then fishing that out. Okay, next is going to be 21mm socket. We're going after that lower bolt here. Just like that. Alright, next, up top here, there are going to be 3 18mm nuts. One my wrench is on, there's one here, and there's one forward of it. You're going to take those loose. Now you can use a wrench, you can use a little floppy head ratchet, whatever you'd like, but they got to go. Once those come out, the whole strut assembly is going to drop down, and then we can fish it out. Okay, so once you get the 3 bolts out up there, this is going to start, as I said, it's going to start working its way out, and then you could just simply fish it out of here. Now, one thing you want to do, I took it out the way it came out, is you want to mark it driver's side and outside. So I'm just going to use a silver Sharpie on it. And then once you do that, alright, so once you got them out, you got them on the ground, you have one of 2 choices. You can go to the store and rent a spring compressor, where you can then compress these springs, take off the center nut, put in your 2-inch lift. Now, the way these go in is once you take off this center nut, this cap's going to come off. This is going to go in between. This is going to go in between. Then you're going to put the cap back on. Now, I've done a number of struts and springs and all that. I'm taking this up to my local shop, or just a local tire shop where they have a machine for this, and they, an actual press with the attachments on it, so that they could do this. It shouldn't cost any more than $70 to have somebody else do it for you. The lift kit itself is $70, so I mean, if you're into the whole thing for $150 in 2 hours, and you're safe, that's all that matters. So once we get everything back from the shop, we'll get this wrapped up. Alright, so now we got our parts back from the tire shop. What they had to do was take the spring off of here, and right here you can see that silver, that's a sleeve. The original bottom of this came down to about here, so that raises it up, and then the last piece of the lift kit is this plate, which stays right on top. And at this point, well, assembly is just reversal of disassembly. So let's walk you through this. Now, when I remember earlier when I said to mark these, so this is the passenger side outside. It can only go like this or like this. And if you try to put it in the wrong way, it won't go in. It will only go in one way. That's part of the beauty of working on some of these newer cars. So this is going to go right into the lower pocket, right over here. Okay, it may take a little persuading, but you'll get the bottom bolt back in down here. And then those 3 bolts that were up top, the 3 nuts that were up top, you're going to go ahead and do those. And the kit comes with new ones, new lock nuts. Comes with them for a reason. They're one-time use, so use them. Then torque everything down to whatever the factory specs are. Actually, let me rephrase that. I like to assemble everything very loosely. So this bottom bolt is not tightened down. The 3 top ones are just on finger tight. So now we're going to get the spindle back on the upper bolt joint here. So that has to get there. Okay. Okay, now because everything is 2 inches taller than it was before, you might have to get a little creative. So there's no place to catch a hook under the control arm, so I'm just using the jack as an anchor point. I ran a ratchet strap up and over and then down, so I can ratchet this down like that. And again, I'm just assembling everything loosely. So now we'll take that off. And now it's get to fight the steering stabilizer link. Nope, actually no. That has to wait until the other side goes back together. So for now, don't forget to put your brake and ABS lines back on. Okay, so after the ratchet strap, upper ball joints put back together, brake and ABS lines are put back together, the clip back there is back on, the stabilizer link is back on. Now if you go online, you may have a hard time finding them. The torque spec for the upper ball joint is 35 foot-pounds. For the stabilizer link, it's 32 foot-pounds. And what you'll find with the upper strut nuts is that they just barely catch the top of the threads. So I'm going to say that they're a torque to yield. And I don't see a torque spec, and even if there is, you're not getting a torque wrench in there. Ain't happening. So just go for the German torque spec of good and tight, and you should be fine. Alright gang, so the 2-inch leveling kit is done on the Colorado. It's brought it up 2 inches. How about that? Easy math. Nah, truck looks good. I really like it. I think it gives it a different look. It's a shame we couldn't get a little more aggressive with the front bumper on it, but it doesn't look too bad at all considering where we started. You know, it almost looked like a two-wheel drive truck. So I'll go and give this back to the owner, and that's that. Thanks for hanging out. Hope it helped you. Peace.